What revenge of yours hit the victim way worse than you thought it would, to the point you said, maybe I shouldn't have done that? Almost killed my friend. Way back in elementary school, a friend threw a piece of chalk that hit me square in the forehead. It was the most humiliating moment for younger me, as everyone who saw that started laughing their asses off. Kids are assholes. I plotted and planned my revenge to get back in the exact same fashion over the next couple of days. One fine day, weapon in hand, I find him perfectly placed a chalk throw away from me. I yell out his name and quickly launch the projectile as he spins around. For some reason, he had his mouth open as he looked at me, and the piece of chalk flew directly into his throat. His eyes widen, and he starts choking. I stood frozen in shock as he fell on his knees coughing. Luckily, somebody grabbed him from behind and thumped his back, so he swallowed the piece. An adult walks in, cannot remember who it was at the time, but she looks at me and asks what happened. At this point, I'm shaking, realizing that I narrowly killed my friend. I say it was a mint. My friend, also shaken at this point, laughs it off, saying it went straight into his throat and he didn't taste it. The adult shakes her head and says, next time just hand it like a normal person, and walks away. Years later, when we were moving away to another country, I remind him about the incident and come clean about the whole thing. He snaps and yells, I knew it! Smelly revenge got me. Coworker and I had a friendly prank war spanning 2 years. Close to the end of our war, he iced my car. Icing involves taking the hose to the parking lot every half hour and spraying a light mist over your victim's car. When it's below zero out, I finished my 12-hour shift to find a car encased in 2 inches of ice. My revenge was, I thought, both more inconvenient for him and less freezing my balls off for me. I decided to take a bed sheet, drape it over his car, and only took 4 or 5 trips out with the hose the next night. So the next morning, he finds his car with a 1/4 inch of ice, freezing a sheet to his car. When he started peeling off the sheet, he pulled his windshield wipers, arms and all, off of his ratty Jeep. I got a very pissed off phone call. I felt bad. The unwritten rule was embarrassing or inconvenient, no damage. I paid for repairs and he got his revenge. He planted a dozen pieces of smoked herring throughout my car. Took me 6 months to find the last piece. Hidden under the carpet under the back window of my car. I can still smell it. I don't even own the car anymore. How did my revenge end with a broken tooth and a new school rule? I don't know what it was, but a lot of the boys in my 6th grade class thought it was hilarious to try and trip people. They'd get your ass no matter how careful you were. Well, I was pretty good at avoiding it. But when I was in gym class, this kid named Joey got my ass hard. I was dribbling down court, and he nailed me. I face planted hard. So I thought about how to get him, and I got him at lunch. He was holding a lunch tray, so his hands weren't as useful. He nailed a table and lost a tooth. I got suspended for 10 days and a strict no tripping policy got implemented. Immediate suspensions if caught. Shit sucked. My dad beat my ass raw. Sorry, Joey. Why did a simple bullying story end with blood and guilt? In elementary school, there was a bully kid who would make fun of me. I had a bad bowl cut and was pretty small, so it wasn't surprising. Me and my friends usually just ignored him. Anyway, one day this kid from Brazil moved into the house next to mine. He was a year older. We used to play soccer together every day after school. I mentioned to him once that this kid would call me names, and usually while walking home from school would follow behind me, taunting me. One day I'm leaving school and this kid is going slowly behind me on his bike shouting stuff, just dumb kid stuff, you know? Brazil kid comes out of nowhere, knocks the kid off his bike and just starts beating him. Bully is on the grass, crying and bleeding. Brazil kid grabs the bike and gives it to me. You can keep this, and then walks away. I didn't know what to do. I just laid the bike next to the kid and walked home. He wasn't at school for like a week. Later in life, I found that kid had a really crappy home situation with abusive parents. I was 10 at the time. Always felt bad for that. Quit bullying me. Though I still occasionally see that Brazilian guy. Don't think he even remembers it. Cool on him for helping in his way. I just think it went too far. How did a simple scare turn into a bloody hallway? This one wasn't really a planned revenge, but it's one I still feel guilty about whenever I think about it. When I was a kid, I was extremely easy to scare with jump scares, and I hated them. I would always enter fight or flight mode whenever something jumped out at me, and then I'd be mad as hell afterward. When my buddies caught on to this, they made it their business in life to jump out at me and scare me any chance they got. Despite my hate of being scared, I was a huge fan of Halloween. and I had a Halloween party every year, either close to or on the big day. Naturally, this was the night when all my friends would do their damnedest to scare me so bad that I would bolt and run. They succeeded a few times when we were all under 9 years old, but something shifted in me the year I turned 10, and none of us knew it until it was too late. As usual, I had my big Halloween party. As usual, all my buddies were there. And as usual, one of them wanted to try and scare the pants off me. About midway through the evening, I went down the hall to use the restroom, and while I was in there, my friend, I'll call him Aaron, scampered down the hall after me and hid in a darkened doorway. I came out of the restroom, started down the hall, and Aaron jumped out at me and grabbed my arm. Ordinarily, something like this would have made me bolt like a little chicken shit, but for some reason that night the flight side of my fight or flight got turned off. The moment he grabbed me, I whirled and punched him square in the face, without even thinking about what I was doing. It was all pure instinct, and after impact I realized what I'd just done and freaked out. Aaron wrenched his mask off and was clutching his face and groaning. Or so I thought. And I yelled for my dad, concerned I had really hurt my friend. My dad and all my other friends came running down the hall to find out what had happened. My dad flipped on the hallway light, and what greets us? Aaron with his face covered in blood. I am instantly horrified, thinking I busted his nose. But as I'm spewing apologies to him, I begin to realize he's not groaning. He's laughing. He grabs me by the hand I'd punched him with and yells, "What are you apologizing for? That was freaking awesome." And he yanked my hand up over my head like I was a boxing champ and starts telling everyone how cool it was of me to just haul off and slug him. If you haven't guessed, Aaron was a pretty cool kid. He thought it was great that I'd suddenly found the courage to defend myself. My dad helped get him cleaned up, though he insisted on keeping his now bloody costume on and inspected his nose. Thankfully, it wasn't actually broken, but I still feel a wave of guilt when I remember the sight of his face covered in blood, and remember the feeling of my fist hitting him in the schnoz. I'll always be grateful to him for handling it so well and encouraging me for standing up for myself. But I still feel so guilty about decking him that I can't even imagine how I would feel if I had actually broken his nose. How did my harmless payback turn into a lifelong disaster? I was dating this girl, and my friends saw her around town a few times and humiliated her in an effort to embarrass me. I told him to stop bothering her, but he did it again. That night I convinced him to try getting back together with his wildly insane and manipulative ex that he hadn't spoken to in years, thinking that he would just humiliate himself by trying. Well, they banged and got back together for a while and had a baby. Now they're terrible single parents. Have you ever done a joke that went way too far? My friends and I used to pull a lot of pranks on each other growing up, and about 10 years ago, I was helping my buddy set up a new business. He was ordering business cards, and the company he was going through was offering, I think, 500 or so free with a large order. So we decided to prank our other friend. We made business cards with his name, phone number, home address, and had his job title as professional creep, with the slogan, "If I'm creepin', you ain't sleepin'." We passed these cards out all over town. He was getting really harassing phone calls for a while and couldn't figure out why. After about 2 years, he found one of the cards on a random fridge at a party and put 2 and 2 together. He was pissed and is still getting random calls 10 years later. I feel really bad about that one. Thank you for watching. Please support our completely original content, except for the voice, with a like and a subscription. Have a nice day.